Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Welcome all again!
What's up, Vegas? It is Friday. It is the Vegas Take. Thank you so much for joining us, Sharp and Shapiro. We made it through the week, baby. It's Friday, barely, but we got a lot to get to, a lot to talk about. And the good news is we have some free stuff to give away today. We love taking care of our listeners, even the ones that disagree with us from time to time. Jennifer Romas is in the hit show Sexy at the Westgate. She's going to be giving away some tickets in studio here in hour number 2 and dinner. So you want to talk about, JD, you know, I always like a cheap date. You know, I want free tickets. I want a free meal because that's just the way I roll. I like free food. You know, what is...
You like the phrase, on the house.
What is that song? You know, money for nothing and chicks for free? Is that what it is? What song is that? I don't know.
I honestly don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe our listeners could help us with that. No, but in all seriousness, it's a great show. So Jennifer's coming in studio. She's going to help us out there and give away some tickets, talk a little bit about the show. Also, John Brookhagen going to be joining us in hour number 2 from the Math Institute. And he's got a summer camp going on right now, $200 value. We're going to give away a free week of that, too, in hour number 2. So not to say we don't want you to listen to hour number 1. I'm sorry. I don't have anything to give away except for fantastic radio in hour number 1. We give that away for free every single day, don't we? Great radio every single day. Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway.
And it's an awesome gift.
It's Friday, so, you know, I'm going a little crazy today. But serious note, we got to talk about this, and I hate doing it because it seems like, and I say this all the time, every week there's another tragedy in this country. It seems like every week there's another shooting, another mass shooting. It could be a school. It could be a business. It could be a synagogue or a church. These crimes are on the rise. Why? Well, we'll discuss that. But a suspect who is a current employee at this municipal center walking into a building at around 4 p.m. this afternoon, quote, began indiscriminately firing upon all victims. They're saying he had 2 firearms, 1 long gun, and a handgun. Responding officers entering the building secured the victims. At least 11 people have died. And we certainly hope that number doesn't go up, but it looks like it does because there are many people in critical condition right now, transported to Centera, Virginia Beach General Hospital. And look, make no mistake about it, something needs to be done. Now, when I say something, there's a lot of things that can be done to help prevent these types of things from happening. And I talked about the horrible October 1 shooting in Las Vegas and what could have been done to prevent it. I don't know. But certainly, mental illness is a big problem that needs to be addressed. Mental illness number. Look, if you're willing to just kill anybody innocent, let alone random innocent people, there's something mentally not right with you. How did he get these guns? Were there any warning signs? That's certainly not going to help the deceased or the injured, but we don't want these things to happen again. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam described the shooting as unspeakable, senseless violence. He said, my deepest condolences and prayers go to the families of those who left home this morning and will not return tonight, as well as those who have been injured in this tragedy. That's right. We have to think about the victims and their families. Just horrible. And this, by the way, this isn't the first time one of these horrible shootings happened in Virginia. We remember the Virginia Tech shooting. There's been other shootings in Virginia. Not good. Police officers are describing it as a devastating incident that will change a lot of lives forever. It's getting old, folks. It's getting old. Tired of it. This comes a day where David Hogg was in Las Vegas today talking about gun violence. When is these massacres, when are they going to stop? We're going to learn more information in the coming days, certainly by tomorrow and by tonight even, maybe within a few hours, we're going to learn more information about this horrific shooting in Virginia. But again, what we know early is that 11 people have died. And we hope that number doesn't go on the rise, but good chance that it will. I remember the October 1 shooting, initial reports after the first few hours of the shooting, they said a dozen people had died. Then it went up to 20. Then it went up to 30, then 40, then 50. And then all of a sudden, it was the largest mass shooting in the history of the United States. Right here in our backyard, right across the street from Mandalay Bay. So there are many people in this town that know what this city is going through right now. And again, our thoughts and prayers, but that is not enough. I don't want to hear our politicians say thoughts and prayers. I don't want to hear Donald Trump hold a press conference and say thoughts and prayers for the victims. I don't want to hear any people on the left or the right say thoughts and prayers. We want action.
And this is different. This was a municipal center.
Right.
This was city and, in some cases, state employees.
Right. That's what makes this even more alarming.
And this was a disgruntled employee.
Right.
Who started this all.
Yeah. Just went nuts. And we're going to learn more information about this guy, hopefully. Why? Why would you take the lives of so many innocent people? There's going to be no good reason for it. Where did he get these weapons? Did he have a history of mental illness? Were there warning signs? These are questions that need to be answered. We don't want to hear thoughts and prayers right now. Trust me. The victims and their families, they want their friends and families around them to help them through this very difficult time. But I'm sure they don't want to hear politicians right now saying thoughts and prayers. It's not what they want to hear. It's not what I want to hear. It's not what any American should hear. But if you're one of those people that thinks that all weapons should be allowed, all weapons, and stop it with, you're politicizing it. Well, what has been done to stop these horrific events from happening? What has been done? So don't give me this crap. Stop politicizing the shooting. Stop politicizing it. Something needs to be done, whether that is stricter laws when it involves guns, whether that is stronger background checks, or doing a better job. To me, this is the biggest issue, mental illness. That is the biggest issue, and I'm tired of it. And it gets me so angry. It gets my blood boiling when I'm talking about innocent Americans that are dying every day. And then we'll hear the gun advocates say, people aren't dying at the rate that you think. Guns, it's way down. Oh, really? Tell that to the families of the people who died today. Go ahead and tell them that. Hey, don't worry about it. It's not really a problem. Gun violence is way down. It's the left. It's the media that makes this a big deal. Tell that to the victims. Something needs to be done. More than just thoughts and prayers by many of the cowards that are politicians in Washington. And it's nonsense. And it has to stop. It's almost like we're thinking, when is the next school shooting going to happen? Should we brace for that? Is the answer more guns? Is that what we want? We want every teacher to be holding a gun in the class? Is that the country we want to live in? How about every business? Let's just have everybody carry. I'm sure that'll make this country a much safer place. It is an idiotic thing to say. I have no problem with security guards, having guns. I have no problem with some security at schools being armed, being trained. I have no problem with that. But the idea that we want all teachers carrying guns and all employees carrying guns, every boss carrying a gun in every business is utterly ridiculous. And you know who would benefit from that? The NRA. That's right. When you hear Republicans and a lot of people on the right and a lot of the politicians that have been bought off by the NRA, that's why you always hear those politicians say, the answer is more guns. We need more guns. Yeah, who do you think wants to push that agenda? The NRA. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying that we should take that right away from Americans, that Americans should not be allowed to carry. Never have I said that. If you are a responsible person that has never committed a felony, you are not a danger to society, you have every right in the world to carry. I have no problem with that. But some of these weapons should not be allowed to be bought. Weapons of war should not be allowed, period. I'll open up the phone lines on this one. This is a heated topic, and I'm just so angry to have to start the show and talk about another shooting where more innocent people have died at the hands of a nut job. For what? For what? The number to call, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. If you want to be a part of the program. I don't have all the answers. JD doesn't have all the answers, or maybe you do. I don't know. But I know I don't. I don't have all the answers. I don't know how to prevent this thing from happening. But I tell you what, there are steps that need to be made. There are steps that need to be made. Again, that number, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Let's start off with Hector. Hector, thanks for calling in. What's up?
How are you, gentlemen?
Doing good, Hector. What do you think about this? Am I off on this one?
so many problems with guns, but I don't have all the answers. I'm a responsible gun owner, and my family, we've always went hunting and stuff. We are originally from Mexico, and we're proud American citizens. And I just want the country to be better. I don't know much about, who should have the gun, who shouldn't have the gun.
Yeah.
But I do know that I do support the borders being shut down because we were just in Mexico not long ago, and it is very, very bad situation down there. And when I hear people comment on the border,
Did we lose you, Hector?
no business to comment, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Hector. Well, I appreciate your opinion, and I do appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
Tell you what, if you get a chance, you should go just down to San Diego and see what's going on.
I actually am taking a trip to San Diego in a couple months, Hector. So I appreciate that. Appreciate the phone call, but we're talking about this horrific tragedy that took place in Virginia, and that has absolutely nothing to do with immigration. Nothing. As far as I know, the gunman is a legal citizen, as far as we know, and we'll have to get more information. 257-5396.
Legal citizen and long time employee.
Yeah, exactly.
Of Virginia Beach.
So obviously he's a legal citizen. Good point. 257-5396. Let's go to Stan. Stan, what's up?
Hey, Stan.
Good morning, Poo Poo. Are you okay, Poo Poo?
Stan, thank you for calling in. Do you have anything else funny you'd like to add to this conversation, or is that all you wanted to say? Okay, I'm going to guess that was it. Stan, thank you for the call. Fantastic call. A day when 11 innocent Americans have died.
I think he was talking to his dog.
11 people have died. We're talking about a very, very serious subject, and some Nimrod wants to call in and have some fun. 257-5396 is the number to call. Misha is next. Misha, thanks. I'm sorry. Moisha, go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
That's all right. It's Moshe, the way they say it in the Mideast sometimes, but it's Moses. Somehow it comes out into Moses in English. I have no idea how you get Moses from Moshe.
I gotcha. Well, now that we have established how to pronounce
Mysteries
your name,
of the world.
What do you think about this issue? Obviously, it's a tragedy. What are your thoughts?
I feel your pain. I hear what you're saying, and of course, anybody who's heard about this is just, totally overwhelmed with grief. This is a terrible, terrible thing that's going on. However, it's not because nobody had guns there. You're saying we shouldn't have too many, but nobody there had any way of protecting themselves.
Well,
this is insane. That's an evil right there. It's great to work on our, on better some sort of health care. What's it called? For insanity or whatever. But
well, I am all for security
because everybody wants money. Everybody wants money for everything.
I understand.
So
money is a big issue here.
Most important thing.
Money is a big issue here because I'm all for security at businesses, armed security guards, but yeah, that costs money, and that's the responsibility of the company to spend that money in the right way to protect their employees. Of course, you never think somebody is going to walk into your business and just start shooting people. My understanding, again, JD, right, this is a former employee who was there for a very long period of time. We've seen this before. We've seen this story before where that's where you get the term going postal, right? We've seen it before.
The guy knows that it's a no-gun zone, whatever. And this is where most of these things happen. Nobody's there to protect themselves and protect their families and their friends and everyone around them. And more people, you're saying more should not be armed. I completely and utterly disagree.
I'm talking about, hold on a second.
I completely disagree.
Okay, I understand, but hold on a second. I'm talking specifically about schools when I said that. I do not believe that we will be safer or the schools will be safer with every teacher with a gun. I think that is more of a problem than a solution. Now, I am all for security at schools, armed security guards. I am all for that. But there are a lot of Republicans out there that think that every single person in every single business in every single school.
Not just Republicans. All the people in Florida, in that Stoneman place that got all shot up, all the children were murdered.
Yes.
They voted unanimously to arm the teachers in the school.
Okay, well, I disagree with that. I don't think every teacher should be armed. That's all. We just disagree on that one. That's fine.
You're a minority on this.
I don't think I'm a minority. I don't think I'm a minority. I think if you want some teachers making $30,000 a year to be trained to have guns, then guess what? We better pay these teachers more money. It's a disgrace what we pay teachers in this country. An absolute disgrace. And that's a lot of responsibility, and I don't think we are safer as every single teacher be armed with a gun.
He is right about the fact that, this guy knew that there wouldn't likely be many guns there. He knew the terrain. He knew the rules. I mean, and that opens up.
Is there security? Is there a security guard?
He probably knows that there's minimal security.
Mm-hmm. Well, then that's a problem.
Or he might even know what the security guard is doing at that time. It could have been during the security guard's lunch break.
Then that's a problem.
That's very possible.
Yeah. It's possible. We're going to learn more information as I'm sure it'll come out in the next 24 to 48 hours. 257-5396. Let's go to Gabe. Gabe, what's up?
Hey, Gabe.
Gabe, are you there?
Is it Dave?
Is your name Dave or Gabe? I don't know. I see Gabe on my screen.
Dave.
Okay, Dave. I apologize. It says Gabe on my screen. Go ahead, Dave.
That's a good name. I've been a mental health case manager for many years. I'm retired now. But, the thing is, mentally ill people, generally speaking, are not victimizers. They're victims. And there's some exceptions, and that's your sociopath and psychopathic personalities, which are very hard to detect because they don't look for help.
Yeah.
And
can I say one other thing, Dave? Yeah. Let me just add to that a little bit, and I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I think any person that decides to kill an innocent human being, there's something mentally not right with you. Anybody, whether that's Scott Peterson, or whether that's somebody who goes into a 7-Eleven and tries to rob the cashier and, God forbid, shoots the cashier. There's something mentally not right with you. We hear this term evil, right? Evil people. Yes, many people are evil. But, again, there's something you're not programmed right if you think it's okay to put no value on human life.
Right. And, that's your sociopathic personality. And I think maybe we need to have a better background check that might detect these people, which might be difficult.
And you know what? That's a good point you bring up, Dave. And let me just say this, too. Let's just say somebody is acting irrational. Let's just say the police are called to the neighbor's house or something because somebody's screaming and yelling and just not acting right, okay? The police file a report, even if they don't take that person in or even if that person isn't put in an institution. There's got to be some law put in place that person cannot buy a gun until they see some sort of therapist or psychologist or doctor, and the doctor deems they are okay. You see what I'm saying? We have to have something like that in place. We talked about the Stoneman shooter, right? The police were called out to his home 84 times.
Yeah.
84 times. How is he allowed to even have a gun? That's what we need to do, Dave. Mental illness is a huge part of this thing. I think the other argument are the types of weapons that they're able to buy, but I appreciate the call, Dave. Thank you so much.
Okay, buddy.
All right. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Doug. Doug, what's going on?
Gentlemen, I just want to say a compliment. It's really nice to hear people talk about a topic and not get personal and throw crap around. And I just wanted to call and say hello because I am a responsible gun owner.
Doug, don't be an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I apologize. Go ahead.
I like fun too. It's okay.
Good.
So I am a very responsible gun owner. I was in this town when the shooting happened.
Mm-hmm.
I also happen to be a physician.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually 25 years down in the area near Stoneman Douglas, and I knew people who died.
Oh, it's horrible. I'm sorry.
Down there. So
That's terrible.
I knew, like the coach, the wrestling coach. But we got two problems. You've got a situation where nobody wants any kind of gun control at all. That's absolutely absurd. I have to go through background checks and go through psychiatric evaluations to become a doctor. I have to have my fingerprints on record because I'm a doctor. If you want to own something that takes a life, it shouldn't be so damn easy.
I agree.
I'm dead on with you on this one.
Doug, let me ask you something. I agree. You seem like a smart guy. Let me ask you this. Why is it you think that there are so many people on the right that are bought by the NRA? Why is it that there are so many people on the right? The first thing they want to say is thoughts and prayers. It's going to happen again tonight, Doug. You know what's going to happen. Why is no action being taken? Is it just because Republicans and Democrats can't work together?
I think you've got to find a common ground to solve a problem instead of just knee-jerking and say, you're going to take all our guns.
Mm-hmm.
No, if you're a responsible guy, you go through the background checks, you do things properly, no one's going to deny you a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to deny you a self-defense weapon.
Yeah.
An AR-15 with multiple clips, I'm not so sure that's really necessary.
Yeah. Doug, what do you think about what I said with the last caller? Where
you know what, Doug? One of the reasons why I think that the major shooting that has taken place here was, I mean, Paddock was on the 35th floor. No one, I mean, no one had a shot of stopping him. But one of the reasons why there's not a lot of shootings in Las Vegas like that is because you don't really know who has a gun, because anybody could be carrying here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Doug, what do you think as a doctor?
I don't necessarily know that that's a major deterrent, but
Yeah.
I think it can be somewhat of a deterrent with responsible gun owners. I think you've got a big problem with, having been in the medical field for 30 years now. Grew up in New York, did my training in New York.
Yep.
Bellevue Hospital was a shooting gallery on Fridays and Saturday nights,
Yeah.
and that's with gun control.
Mm.
So I don't know how much control you're going to have over the bad guys.
Yeah, well, that's
But
yeah.
Mental health is completely not recognized as something that's important.
Agree.
When it's someone that you know, it's important. When it's you, it's important. But when it's paying the bills and the insurance company's paying a doctor for it, or paying a psychiatrist properly or a therapist properly, they don't want to shell out the money, because if things go well, nothing freaking happens.
Exactly. Well, I got to tell you this, my man. I'm number one. I'm glad that you're a doctor in this city of Las Vegas, because we need better doctors in this city. So thanks for calling in. Let me just start there.
Great call, Doug.
And I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Thank you for those kind words. 257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 257-5396. We're talking about this horrific tragedy, another mass shooting. This time it's in Virginia. At least 11 people have died. It was at a business. What we are learning is that the shooter is a former worker at this business. JD, do you know how long he was there? Is there information about that?
It wasn't at a business. It was at a public works building.
Public works building. I apologize.
I mean,
yes.
these are city
employees
and or state employees.
And how long did he work in this place?
Sounds like almost 20 years, a long time.
Wow.
So he knew the ins and outs, as we previously discussed.
Sure.
As
He
far
knew
as
exactly what he was doing.
He knew what he needed to do to get the job done that he wanted to get done.
No doubt. 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Neil. Neil, how's it going?
Hi, Neil.
Brian, how's it going?
Good. What's on your mind?
All right, listen, I wasn't prepared to talk about the shooting in Virginia. Unfortunately, it's an incident that continues to repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't think anybody does. I don't think gun control is the answer. But
then what is? If that's not the answer, then what is?
I think the answer lies in the Second Amendment, the right to self-defense.
Nobody's gonna argue that. We all have the right to self-defense. And as I started the show, I said, look, make no mistake about it. If you've never committed a felony and you're not a danger to society, I have no problem with you buying a gun. Neil, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here, and then you can respond. I think there are two issues here. Number one, mental illness. The last caller who just called up, who's a doctor, knows it better than anybody. We need to do a better job of detecting mental illness. We need better ways. If the cops are called out to a house, just because somebody doesn't go to jail or just because somebody doesn't go to the mental hospital doesn't mean they should be allowed to still buy a gun. That there has to be some sort of something put in place to make sure that they are okay before they can buy a gun. And number two, yes, I do think that there are guns out there that should not be on the shelves, that you shouldn't be able to just go in there and buy a weapon of war.
I agree. AR-15s. I don't think they should be available.
There you go. There you go.
Retail level. There's no reason to have an AR-15 in your house.
I agree. There you go. I mean, that's a start, isn't it, Neil? That's a start.
And if you're hunting with an AR-15, it's cheating.
Right. It is cheating. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what this guy was on with. I don't have the details on the incident.
Yeah.
But again, I just don't know. My gut feeling is that the answer lies within the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, the right to self-defense. How it can be organized or designed, I think it's got to be a reactive approach, because this stuff is not going to stop.
No, I hear you, Neil. I hear you, Neil. And listen, I appreciate the call. I think we all want the same thing here. We don't want these things to happen. Let's go to Mike. Mike, what's up?
Yeah, but there are two things that you're saying that are not helping at all.
What's that?
One is there's no such thing as an NRA without the people who support it. It's not an entity like some sort of a bad thing or something. It's the people who want to protect their right to have what you're attacking, an AR-15. What happens when
why was an AR-15 made?
Crashing into my house,
okay.
and I have
I'll
I
answer
have
your
a little
question.
pistol. I want to be able to defend myself with a good weapon.
I'll answer your question. First of all, I'll answer it by asking you a question. When the AR-15 was first made, what was it made for?
It's not what you're saying. Again,
answer the question. What was it made for? What was the AR-15 made for? Please answer the question.
Not the one that we have. We don't have automatic.
Why won't you answer my question? I'll answer it for you.
Because you're saying something that has nothing to do with it.
Excuse me. An AR-15 was made for mass casualties. Now, if you think
it's a semi-automatic.
an
AR-15 to protect yourself from
It
lunatics.
it is a
who
weapon.
Come in and try to.
It is a weapon of war, and it was made
No,
for
it's
mass
not. It's not
casualties.
It's not an automatic.
Okay,
It's
here's
not
what I
a
want you to
weapon of
do.
war.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do a little Google search and find out when this weapon was made, why this weapon was made, and then get back to me. I know I'm not wrong. I've studied this. You're wrong. Let's go to Brady. Brady, what's up?
Right on. What does AR stand for 15? What is AR-15? What does that stand for?
Assault rifle.
No, it doesn't. It's Armalite.
Armalite.
It's made by Colt. So if you want to go by your facts, it was made in the Vietnam War, and it was used in the Vietnam War.
And what was it made for? What was the reason for it made for?
It was a rifle. It was a semi-automatic
Okay, but I
rifle.
didn't ask you what kind of gun it was. I said, why was it made for? Why did they design this type of weapon in that war? Why, Brady?
Because it was a semi-automatic.
Okay, but why? For what reason?
It was made like any other rifle in the world.
No, not true. It was made to kill mass casualties, to kill as many people as possible. That's the answer, Brady. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go further. Okay, let's go back to World War II.
I have 30 seconds. I have 30 seconds. Go.
Okay, I'll make it really short. In World War II, what gun did they use? It was a 30-06 Springfield.
Okay.
Okay. When you go deer hunting these days or elk hunting or whatever, what do you use? A 30-06.
I don't go deer hunting because I think it's ridiculous.
Why not?
Why not? Because I don't think killing innocent animals when you're not going to eat them, I think you're sick if you do that. And then you cut their heads off and then you mount them on your wall. That's why I think you're a sick person. I think you're sick if you do that. I think if you kill bears, if you kill deer for the gaming of it because you enjoy it, and then you cut their heads off and behead them like ISIS and then put it up on your wall, there's something wrong with you. I think you have a mental illness. What do you think about that? We'll take a break. We'll come back right after this. 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Why I think Laura Ingraham is a racist. We'll get to that when we come back. You're listening to the Vegas Take. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. We'll get to Laura Ingraham in a few minutes. A reminder, we've got some tickets to give away in hour number 2. Jennifer Romas from the hit show Sexy. Also, John Brookhagen from the Infinity Math Institute will be joining us to give away a free summer camp as well coming up in hour 2. We're talking about this horrific tragedy that's taken place in Virginia. At least 11 people have lost their lives, many people in critical condition. Horrific tragedy at the hands of another madman, and we're taking calls on this. What is the answer? What do we do? Mental illness, gun control. 257-5396. Let's go to Jim. Jim, what's up?
Hey, so there's a couple problems, okay? Number one is that gun-free zones don't work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Okay. Number two, we need to enforce the laws that are already on the books.
Agree with that as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, we need to get serious about mental health.
And you've heard me talking about that. It seems like every week, Jim, when something like this happens, that's the first thing I talk about. If you notice, the first thing I don't talk about is gun control. I talk about mental illness.
Right, because gun control means using both hands.
Of course. Mental illness is number one. We need to make sure that these nut jobs do not get their hands on weapons. And then let's talk about weapons of war, and we can get into that. But mental illness has to be number one on the list.
Okay, so here's the thing about that whole thing. Okay?
Yeah.
Gun control laws only apply to people who are willing to follow the law in the first place.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
okay,
I hear you.
Because walking into your job and shooting 11 people is already illegal.
Well, of course. I get that. And most likely they're probably going to get their hands on weapons of war or weapons that are illegal anyway. Most likely. But I feel like we need to do something. We need to do something to stop the badness. And yes, I agree. It starts with mental illness, Jim. But I think moving on, I think there are certain weapons that should not be out there.
Then the question is, how do we make sure that the bad guys aren't getting their hands on these weapons?
Well, that's the key.
Okay,
that's
while
the key.
Not infringing on the rights of the good people.
Right. Well, that's the key. That's the key. And Republicans and Democrats need to come together. I don't want to hear, thoughts and prayers, Jim. That's the key. Always good. Yeah. Always good to hear from you, my man. I got to get to some other calls, but it's always good to hear from you. I appreciate it. Another good call by Jim. We appreciate that. 257-5396. Tony, you're next. What's up, Tony? Uh-oh. We lost Tony. Let's go to Wilfrey. Wilfrey, you're next.
Brian.
Yes, sir.
Well, if I might, Brian, I continue to have hope and faith in your talk show, but boy, sometimes you are a real challenge. But if I might,
I'm a challenge. Wait, hold on. I'll let you go. You think I'm a challenge? You don't think a challenge is, the 11 people that lost their lives, their families, and what they're going through? I think that's where the challenge is, the innocent people that lost their lives, and how do we get this madness to stop? I'm not a challenge. Some idiot that goes on the radio and argues with you is not a challenge, Wilfrey.
See, here you go. You
I just called
me,
myself an idiot. Excuse me. Excuse me. I just called myself an idiot. Are you even listening?
I'm not calling you an idiot.
Okay, well, I did. Okay, I'm trying to make a point. I'm not the challenge. I'm not the challenge.
Let's start all over again. I love you. I got nothing but love for you.
Okay,
Brian. Ready? Here goes.
Well, that's BS. But go
always
ahead.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So here goes.
You're full of crap. Go ahead.
So here, and you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
And here goes. First of all, those men who do things of this nature, usually those men or women died a long time ago. It wasn't at this moment. But we don't know.
But they're not the only ones that died.
Well, let me finish. Jesus, let me finish. We don't know because it's a premature discussion because there's not an assimilation of the facts, and the facts are very, very important to the case. That's number two. The third thing is that all men, I guarantee you there's a part of you, a button, that you will kill by. Most men don't know that because most men live in comfortable, narrow.
Wait, what?
Narrow
Say that again? Come again?
Every man has an unknown button inside of him that's capable of atrocities. But most people don't. They live in comfortable zones.
I agree. That's definitely the button in my pants. No. Goodbye. I'm not going to listen to you give me a history lesson, and we're going to lose half of our listeners. I'm sorry if that was disrespectful, but I want to actually get to some callers that actually have real solutions, not telling me that there's some button that wants to kill people, because that's utterly ridiculous.
It's called the kill switch, Brian.
Yeah, well,
you got a kill switch.
When I go to strip clubs, trust me, when I go to strip clubs, the strippers know exactly where that button is. Let's go to Mark. Mark, what's up?
Hi, your name was Brian, right? Did I hear that correct?
Well, idiot, Brian. I mean, whatever you choose. Yeah, you can go.
Brian is fine.
You've got a lot of options.
I think that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's eagerly spread by people who are afraid that their guns might be taken away, and in some cases, rightfully so.
Mark, can I ask you about that? Can I ask you about that?
Sure.
I have never heard a Democrat, at least I haven't, that it said they want to take every single person's gun away and take away that right. I've never. Where does that come from?
I don't know, because I didn't say that, of course.
I know you didn't say that.
There are people out there. You've already discussed with mental illness that have no business having a gun.
Of course.
In the house.
Yes.
And even those who think it's there for self-defense oftentimes end up very, very sad because they either use it on themselves in suicide, or other family members pick it up, kids and so forth. So, in a perfect world, sure, a gun is just an instrument laying around. But these instruments were designed to harm people, and they should be treated accordingly.
Exactly. Why is it that there are not a lot of like-minded people like yourself who are on the right that don't agree with you on that? I think it's so basic what you just said, and you're right.
And it's crazy because
it is.
You could live 85, 90, 70, 20, 15, however many years, and one instance with a gun.
Yeah.
That goes wrong, and your whole entire life is
You're
over. It's so absolute and it's so final. And that's why I'm not a huge gun guy.
Exactly.
Right.
Mark, but what about the last couple calls? There are a few callers that called in that seem to be defending the AR-15, and I asked them a very specific question. I say, explain to me why that weapon was first made. And the guy who made the weapon said it. We built this for mass casualties. Why won't they admit that?
Because to admit that would mean that they have to admit that these are assault rifles.
Exactly.
And that they are not for defense. And they're high-velocity bullets that are designed to go through many kinds of normal obstacles, and they do horrific damage.
And, Mark, you know what happens when that...
Armor-piercing bullets.
Yeah. They explode in your body.
The human body is not ready for those things.
Mark, will you please...
So they have no business being in civilian hands whatsoever.
Mark, will you...
It's just crazy. The range of these weapons is a quarter to a half mile. So when people talk about, just one quick point for you, when people talk about hardening up structures and things like this, all somebody has to do with an AR-15 is sit a quarter mile outside the exit for a high school, wait for students to exit, and have a field day. There's no way you can stop these weapons except to remove them from people's hands.
Mark, will you please run for Congress? We need people like you, please.
Oh, I appreciate the thought, but there's only so much crazy people that I want to deal with in a day.
Yeah, you'd have to deal with a lot of crazy people in Congress, that's for sure. You'd also have to deal with Donald Trump. Mark, I appreciate the call.
He's
Thank
also
you.
implying that he already deals with crazy people at his occupation.
Yeah. Well, there's crazy people everywhere. Mark, I appreciate the call. Really good call.
Great call,
Thank
Mark.
you. 257-5396. Let's go to BC. BC, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Not
I'd like
much.
to add to that, too, that the last bozo, that after all the guns are taken away, then the sycophants in the government come and start attacking you as well. Do you guys even know what the Second Amendment stands for?
Okay, well, first of all, are you calling me a bozo, or are you calling the last caller a bozo? Who are you name calling?
Caller for sure. The last caller. Absolutely.
Okay, well, you know what? I don't think he's a bozo. Can you disagree with him without calling him a name? See, when I call people names, it's because they say something stupid. So please tell me, what did he say that was ignorant or stupid? You can disagree with something he said, but what did he say that was not factual?
I'm not saying that he didn't say anything that's not factual. I'm just saying that.
So why is he a bozo then?
Because what you're talking about is taking the Second Amendment away.
No, we're not. What are you talking about? No, listen, I don't want to call you a name.
Listen to me real quick.
But you're wrong. No, you just said something that's not factually accurate. Never have I ever said, or any caller that agreed with me has said, we want to take all your guns away. So who's the bozo here? I will say I won't call you a bozo. I'll say you're hard of hearing. Maybe you don't want to listen to a caller that you disagree with. He never said take all your guns away.
I understand what people mean, common sense words. I understand what they're saying, though.
We never said we wanted to take all the guns away. Why don't you admit you're wrong, and then I'll let you continue.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me finish my thought.
You just said something ridiculous.
It starts there.
No, it doesn't start there. There's not one Democrat that wants to take all your guns away. It does not start there. You're wrong.
What are you talking about? Cory Booker wants to take all the guns away.
Every single gun across the country away. Are you out of your mind? Cory Booker's never said that.
I'm not out of mind, the leftists, but listen, why do we have the Second Amendment? What's it for? We need AR-15s. We need that stuff.
Oh, so we should just let you have a bazooka?
BC, do you also call in under the name Seth?
Of course.
I don't.
Okay, yeah, okay. So where do you draw the line, Seth, BC? Where do you draw the line?
How many shootings have increased since gun
I just
laws
asked you a question. Where do we draw the line?
Here's where you draw the line. You stop talking about guns every time one of these things happens.
Okay, let's not talk about guns. Thoughts and prayers. You're right. I'll just do what every other idiot politician does.
I agree with you there. I agree with you 100%. The thoughts and prayers is it's stupid.
I talk about mental illness. That's the first thing I talk about whenever we have one of these things. I talk about mental illness. We want to make sure we don't get the guns in the hands of the wrong people. And then the second thing I talk about...
Thoughts and prayers does not create change. All it does is say, hey, by the way, I care about this. And they make it about themselves. Like when someone puts on their social media, remembering whatever it is, they're making it about themselves. They're doing nothing to help to change anything.
And if you want to disagree with me, that's fine. But let me tell you something, my friend. I'm not a bozo for thinking that the way many others think, including somebody like a David Hogg who's in town today, that an AR-15 was built for the reason of mass casualties. And I don't want that weapon out there.
Let's say that's correct, though. I think it should, though, because, look,
in
the Second Amendment, the whole premise of it is to have a well-regulated militia. A militia is not the Army. It continues on. It says to supplement an army, right?
Yeah.
You have to have that kind of stuff.
It's like the D League for the Army, the minor leagues.
You don't like Trump, right? What if he went total, like, hardcore right-wing anarchist, wanted to take over the thing? Wouldn't you be more secure if you had more weapons around to fight?
No, because I'm not a psycho like you, and I don't think that's going to happen. That's why I don't think Donald Trump is taking over. I'm not a psychopath. I don't want an artillery in my house because I don't think that's going to happen because I'm not a psycho like you. You're a psycho. You're a gun-loving psycho. That's what you are. I bet you sleep with your guns. You sleep with your AR-15. You're a psycho. You're a psycho. Yeah, keep laughing, you psycho. Go to a mental hospital.
ABC, great call.
Go to a psycho unit. Are you kidding me? That's how you should have an AR-15 because what would happen if Donald Trump and his administration decided artillery and take you over? Are you a nut job? You know what? Maybe I'll have an AR-15 because I think the aliens are going to come down and take me too. You're a nut job. I don't want people like you owning guns because you're a psychopath. 257-5396 is the number to call. 257-5396. Go to Mike. Mike, what's up?
Yeah, you need that in case the aliens come down.
Well, if they probe me, I'm going to need to wear protection.
Hey, I've got Will Smith on speed dial and Tommy Lee Jones. I'm good if aliens come down.
Let me tell you something. If an alien came down and they tried to abduct me, I'd just let them do it because God knows radio is probably better in their ship than here.
And he's secretly into anal probes.
Well, I'm not going to go there. Not going to go there.
I think that you probably won't like this, but I'm not for having those kind of guns either, but I think that the only way you can stop this or even slow it down, what's going on, because it's getting worse all the time, is deterrence. And so we've got to spend the money and have people in place just like they make you have handicap parking spaces when you have like 1,000 square feet. There should be somebody armed in public places and even businesses, postal offices, whatever, where somebody knows there's somebody there with a gun and they're not likely to go in there.
Mike, I don't have a problem with that, I don't have a problem with that, Mike, but let's be realist when it comes to this stuff. We're talking about money. And we're
talking about money, yeah.
Yeah.
And also we're talking about being afraid to do it. Nobody wants to have a country where everywhere you go there's somebody with a gun on the side of
Well, you know what?
We don't want martial law. We don't want to be Venezuela.
Right. But at the same time, when we go to large events, and this is before October 1, you go to concerts, you go to big venues, you always see police officers armed. Always.
Well, you know what? So something interesting that Vegas does is there's every day there's hundreds of undercover officers on the Strip.
Yeah.
Right,
right. But I'll tell you what bothers me.
Actually, I'm thinking about churches and schools in particular. It seems like that. I know the concert, that was bad. I don't know how you fix that from long range. I don't know what you do, but
that is a very tough situation, and we don't know. I don't know how he got all those weapons up there. I mean, we do. He went up an employee elevator, but how did he buy all those weapons? How did he sneak them in?
I think he was actually an arms dealer, but that's another story for a different day.
You know how people are against arming teachers or arming the counselors or arming the principal or arming. I agree to a point, but at this point in our lives, I don't see how if this is going to continue, how you can't require some.
Well, here's how we fix that problem. In my personal, I'm just talking about schools now, Mike. Okay, we need to have armed security guards in every single school, and they need to have screens, and they need to know every single door.
Let's say it's 1,000 students. For every 1,000 students, you need one armed guard. So
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, but here's the key, though. Every single door that is either locked or unlocked, I don't care. We need security guards' eyes on those doors. And I guarantee you, if somebody tries to get in, that person is most likely going to be shot before they get into a classroom.
So the bottom line is, when does it become bad enough that we're willing to spend the money?
I think now. I think we have to do it now. I really do.
I agree.
I think that when someone very, very prominent life is taken, that's kind of when it happens. I really believe it. But the issue is that you have to control the weapon itself, the mental health aspect, and then the location of where these things take place, because they're all in public places, and typically they're in places where the shooter, the assailant, is aware that there's not going to be much of an opposition to them.
But, Mike, when you hear...
I'm going to go in the house and keep listening.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
Great call, Mike.
What I was going to say to Mike is, when you hear Donald Trump get up there and say that our teachers should be armed, that's not the answer. I think in some situations that could make things worse. We got John Brookhagen coming in studio next segment. He runs a school here, the Infinity Math Institute. And I want to talk to him about this. What does he think about teachers being armed in schools? I don't think that's the answer. There are issues where you have students getting into physical altercations with teachers, especially in bad areas. That happens on a daily basis. What happens if that teacher has a weapon? And what happens if that teacher makes a mistake and the students know where it is?
What happens if that kid is 6'4"?
Exactly.
260.
Teacher has no chance.
16 years old, and the teacher's 5'7", 170 pounds.
And look, there's going to be some irresponsible teachers out there.
They're going to react. They're going to try to survive.
They're going to kill the student.
That could definitely take place.
It goes both ways. That's what I'm trying to say. Armed teachers are not the answer. We need solid security. Don't pay security guards like they do in some of these casinos. Don't pay them $10 an hour. Pay a security guard some more money so you have quality. And look, if you have enough security, like that gentleman who just called in, said one security guard per 1,000 students. I think that's fair. So if you have a school with 2,000 or 3,000, give me several security guards. Make sure their eyes are on the doors at all times. That is the world we live in now. We have to have that. And it will save lives, and it'll deter some of these nut jobs coming into these schools and killing innocent kids.
Are you against one of the security guards guaranteeing to have military experience or being affiliated with the military?
I don't think that's a guarantee, but certainly I would.
What if they're wearing military garb? Are you against that?
I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I want them to be properly trained. When you hear Republicans and people who are with the NRA, Dana Loesch, who I think is a witch, and people like that who are spokespeople for the NRA, and their answer is always more guns, more guns, more guns. If you notice, JD, whenever you hear a spokesperson from the NRA, whatever they bring up is always beneficial to them. It's always more profits for the NRA. For example, you'll never hear them say, you know what? I think we should take that gun off the market. You know what? That gun should not be used by the public. Maybe we should take... No, they'll never do that. They didn't lose any money because of the bump stock issue. Absolutely not, because you could turn a bump stock with a frickin' rubber band. You could turn it into a bump stock. That's easily overcome.
And mainstream didn't know what a bump stock was.
Right.
Until it was sensationalized.
So Donald Trump stands up and thinks he's doing this wonderful thing by banning bump stocks. Really, he's doing nothing. Because I guarantee you, if Paddock couldn't get his hand on a bump stock, I guarantee you he would have found another way with rubber bands. Or there are easy ways to turn one of those weapons.
I'm not against the military creating a subdivision,
Yeah.
50, maybe 100,000 soldiers.
Yeah.
And their entire purpose is to go and be security, armed, trained security at schools all across the United States of America.
But the point, I'm trying to make, JD, is something needs to be done. Nothing is happening. What have we done? It's shooting after shooting after shooting. What has been accomplished?
And it's not the same place. It's all over the country.
Exactly.
There's been, 150 shootings in 40 states?
And the worst shooting.
30 states?
The worst
they're
mass
spreading
shooting.
everywhere.
Worst mass shooting.
Was here.
Was a few miles down the road. It's unbelievable. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, John Brookhagen from the Infinity Math Institute will be joining us. We also have Jennifer Aromas from the show Sexy. We're going to be giving out some stuff in this next hour. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Vegas Take.